What are the important clinical features? Hemolytic anemia, jaundice, splenomegaly. One important finding is gallstones. Okay, doc, why is this important? Hereditary spherocytosis is the problem in the RBC membrane that begins in the fetal life. The process of hemolysis begins in the fetal life, and that leads to development of a splenomegaly right in the fetal life. So when a newborn is born, a 3 or 4 month old baby with a massive splenomegaly, no other condition can be responsible, only diagnosis is hereditary spherocytosis. Then another thing, how do you treat that? Splenectomy. But always, what is the rule in hereditary spherocytosis? Before you contemplate hereditary splenectomy, do cholecystectomy followed by splenectomy. You also need to do cholecystectomy, because in hereditary spherocytosis, when the spleen is massive, so much hemolysis occurs that releases so much bilirubin that there will be invariably bilirubinate gallstones. बड़ा स्प्लीन के साथ जिंदगी में तमाम जी सकते, मगर obstructed bile duct and a cholecystitis with cholelithiasis, it is mortality will be very closer. Hence, what is the rule? Cholecystectomy should be done before splenectomy in case of hereditary spherocytosis. Number one. Number two, what is the second clinical aphorism which you are not going to forget? In a pediatric patient below 1 year, if there is a massive splenomegaly, there is no other condition which can explain it except hereditary spherocytosis. And hereditary spherocytosis is classically spherocytes with Coombs negativity. There are the 3 important principles. If you write in the exam hall in the question paper, your examiner will faint. Oh, so many finest aspects of hemolytic anemia. Did the guys have attended any international hematology conference? Honestly, at the end of so much thing, there will be what are called clinical pearls, clinical pearls. You should have 5 to 6 pearls about every topic. And it is those pearls which matter, whether you go for USMLE, NEET PG, State PG or MBBS exam. They are the pearls. If you know the pearls, you understood the topic. That's very important. And you can't understand the pearls suddenly if you read somewhere in the middle. If I simply say Coombs negative hemolytic anemia is hereditary spherocytosis, remember it. Will you remember? First, then what is Coombs positive hemolytic anemia and why Coombs negative is asked to be remembered? You must know the logic. That's very important. Now, doctor, here you can see the cells lack the central zone of pallor. There is a spherical shape, which is the classical peripheral smear of the hereditary spherocytosis. How is the bone marrow? Bone marrow typically will be erythroid hyperplasia will be there. And you find sinusoidal congestion in the bone marrow is very classical feature. And you do RBC osmotic fragility test. Very simple, doctor. What is the principle of osmotic fragility test? Did you wash the clothes anytime? We all have to wash the clothes as a medical student. There is no other way. Of course. Dobby will have his own leave on Holi, Diwali every time. When you wash clothes, how will your fingers become typically? They all are, you feel, are these my fingers, beautiful fingers meant for mehendi of the marriage? So what is the reason? The surf water will suck the water out of your tissues and your hands become typically like a washerwoman's hands it become. So now the question comes, if you drop an RBC into a hypotonic solution, hypotonic का मतलब क्या है? The osmolarity of that solution is lesser than the osmolarity of RBC. What is the tendency for water? Water always runs from which place to which place? from a hypotonic area into a hypertonic environment, it will run. It will run. But thoda water aane se hi, if the cell breaks, because the intracellular volume is very less, right? So that breaking of the cell, even at a small, lesser hypertonicity itself is demonstrated to say that the intracellular volume of the RBC is low. That is the principle of osmotic fragility test. That is, the fragility of the RBC is high with even a little entry of the water from the surrounding hypotonic fluid is demonstrated on the osmotic fragility test. Then any hemolysis will lead to reticulocyte count elevated. Since the volume is smaller, concentration of the mean corpuscular hemoglobin will be higher. So elevated MCHC will be there in case of hereditary spherocytosis. This is another important feature. If it is iron deficiency anemia or any other anemia, what will happen? Biconcave disc remains biconcave, but the hemoglobin inside it is smaller, hence the MCHC will be lower. The only anemia with MCHC higher will be hereditary spherocytosis, because the very problem is spherocyte has got a very lesser intracellular volume, is what need to be remembered. Direct Coombs test will be negative, which differentiates it from the autoimmune hemolytic anemia. Now this is another example. How is the MCHC 36.5, which is typically an elevated MCHC, which is classical, elevated MCHC value, classical in the peripheral smear, complete that picture in case of hereditary spherocytosis. You do splenectomy, you do cholecystectomy, which is considered to be the essential part of the management. That's all the story. So finally, what will you remember? Increased osmotic fragility, spectrin deficiency, Coombs negativity, and cholecystectomy along with splenectomy. 5 main buzzwords. Now, J6PD deficiency. Common thing examiner expects you to answer is, what is the inheritance pattern? Duchenne's muscular dystrophy, hemophilia, J6PD deficiency. They are the classical questions about X-linked recessive disorder, is what need to be remembered. Sulfonamides, primaquine, favobeans, nitrofurantoin are some of the drugs which will lead to the development of oxidizing radicals, free radicals, and lead to development of hemolysis, is what need to be remembered. Now doctor, there are 2 types of J6PD deficiency. You have a mild form. Why it is mild? Only senile old RBCs are taken out to the outskirts of the city and killed. That is mild form. And in these people generally you don't have anemia. And primaquine, sulfonamide, trimethoprim like drugs, if you give, then only they will show hemolysis. Lot of people whom you come across in the hospital, they will come with a UTI. Innocently you have given Bactrim DS, double strength trimethoprim sulfamethoxazole to treat them. Next day you discovered anemia, bilirubinemia, hemolysis, etc., etc. Does it scare you to give Bactrim DS and before that to send everybody's blood for G6PD? It is not cost effective. So only thing is you will ask a history. Any earlier UTI you took this drug, sir? Did it lead to any yellowing of the skin, etc.? Some history you will take, and that fellow don't know why you are asking, and he won't remember also. Who will remember? Probably he did not receive Bactrim DS earlier, and suddenly you will discover hemolysis. So that is mild form. Whereas a severe form is called Mediterranean form. Both old and young RBCs are killed. वो कुछ शादी में जाके फावा बीन्स खाए तो hemolysis हो गया. So and generally they require a lot of transfusions to overcome that severe hemolytic reaction. And there is a lot of accumulation of unneutralized hydrogen peroxide, because to neutralize it you require glutathione reductase, which requires NADH, which requires G6PD in the PPP, and all that will lead to precipitation of hinge bodies which are classical in the RBCs. How do they present? There will be episodic hemolytic episodes, dark urine and jaundice. Peripheral smear may one classical feature of G6PD deficiency is the bite cells. What is meant by bite cells? This denatured hemoglobin ko hold karke RBC will be passing through the spleen. What spleen will be doing? It will be biting the RBC, because reticular endothelial system's job is what? Road cleaning job. So it will remove that, and the remaining RBC whose hinge body had been eaten away by the spleen will come back into the circulation, and that reflects in the form of bite cells, which is classical of G6PD deficiency associated hemolytic anemia. So quickly summarize, what are the various things you have seen? Cystocytes, where do you see? Microangiopathic hemolytic anemias. Target cells, you see it in thalassemia, Cooley's anemia classically. Then helmet cells, also hemolytic process. Other than hereditary spherocytosis, you must know other causes leading to spherocytes. Then you have bite cells, hinge bodies. These are all the small buzzwords which you need to remember. Now, how do you treat? Avoid the drugs, perform transfusion whenever required. Now comes a very important topic. Autoimmune hemolytic anemia. In this, there are autoantibodies against the RBC membrane which lead to the development of the destruction. Obviously, autoantibodies are immunoglobulins. Immunoglobulins can be IgG type, IgM type. So, which type of immunoglobulin? Is it IgG or IgM? Will decide the entire story. RBC मरने में फिक्र नहीं है, कौन मार रहे हैं उनको, will decide the prognosis. Is it cold type or warm type? IgG is responsible for G for garam, warm, and M is cold type of autoimmune hemolysis. It decides the prognosis. First, let us talk about warm type of autoimmune hemolytic anemia. It is due to the IgG, which will bind with the RBC membrane at around 37 degrees, and that IgG is like unwanted crown on the top of the head of RBC. With that crown, it will be innocently walking, thinking I am the top king in the world, and spleen will kill it in the dark midnight. So that is the whole problem. So there is a sequestration of the RBC in the spleen, and splenomegaly is an important feature of warm autoimmune hemolytic anemia. Okay.